Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are recording a new episode for you. Joy and I have had all manner of discussions, spoken about events, spoken about the names of guitar players. It's all been going on.
If your name ends in IM, apparently you're required to be a guitar player. I don't know if anybody knew this. It's just some news that we learned 5 minutes ago.
Certainly a local guitar player.
It's true. Everything we're talking about is very localized. So Tim may have attended an event that I was working sound for literally this weekend, which is ironic because usually it goes the other way, right, Tim?
Absolutely.
I may have stole a microphone stand from him and he showed up. And I was just telling him all the ins and outs and the behind the scene things. If you've ever done a event in the music world, you know what happens. And it may have equated to Joy having to sing parts that other people didn't sing.
But there we go. Yes, we had a very nice event together, Joy.
It was wonderful. It was amazing. And I was proud to see Tim show up. So good job, Tim. Yay.
I went to support you, Joy, and come and support the event.
Yes, but it was just funny. So that's what we were talking about, everybody.
There we go. Anyhow, I have a couple of music news items. I know Joy has got a music news item as well.
I feel like my music news item might be in yours, by the way, Tim.
Well, we will see. So, Joy, I'm going to send you the article as I read it out because I want you to see the picture. Now, obviously, this is a music podcast that's audio predominantly, but I want you to see the picture. So, see the picture, Joy.
Oh, no.
Okay. So this is my music news. An Illinois man has been arrested after pretending to be the rocker Sammy Hagar. Now, if you imagine Sammy Hagar, that's probably fallen on his luck a little bit, fallen down on his luck, and also maybe a little bit larger than your Sammy Hagar, if I'm being polite about this gentleman. So that's just a visual that you should have in your head. And it says, an Illinois man was taken into custody after allegedly impersonating rock legend Sammy Hagar at several area businesses, including 2 banks and a vape shop. Police say Ronnie Putnam, 58, of Somersville, entered multiple establishments claiming to be the real Red Rocker and attempted to open accounts under the name of Sammy Hagar Enterprises, LLC. Witnesses say that Putnam even performed a brief a cappella version of Sammy Hagar's 1984 hit I Can't Drive 55 in an effort to prove his identity.
Well, I think my favorite part is this. So speaking of being in the music world and the weird things me and Tim did in the past, because me and Tim talk on this podcast, so we've had different lives. I used to do hair and I used to do nails. I have a literal degree in that. The best part about this little picture that Tim just sent me is the really bad compromised bleach job. Like, think about the world. His hair looks like if you were at a Halloween shop and you bought the world's worst synthetic wig, right, Tim?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what this man's hair actually looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the story gets even better. Hair and all.
Oh, God. All right. It's worse than I even thought.
Apparently, a bank teller told the police he was wearing red sunglasses and smelled faintly of Margaritavix, so I thought it was actually him.
I mean, Sammy Hagar might like his margaritas. I don't know. Is that his drink?
Yeah, he's famously had margarita brands for years, Cabo Wabo and now Santa.
Oh, yes. I mean, he does have his own brand, and I do love a margarita, so I get it. Go, Sammy, go.
Yeah. And apparently Putnam was arrested on October the 18th after presenting a homemade ID card that read Sammy Hagar Rock God. And then when asked for comment during his arrest, Putnam reportedly shouted, I can't drive to jail.
I thought he was going to say, I can't drive 55. Okay, that would have been a better joke. I'm just saying. I would have been like, I can't drive 55, everybody. I hope that reference isn't lost.
I saw that story and I laughed so hard. The funny thing is, Sammy Hagar actually posted up on his Instagram today about it and had a side by side screenshot. It's got to the Sammy verse.
If I had been Sammy Hagar, Tim, I might have paid his bail.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to talk with him and be like, dude, what's your deal? Like, what's happening? Are you a musician? Like, what are we doing? Anyway, that's amazing. Like I said, my favorite part is the fact of how bad that man's bleach blonde hair looks. Tim, did that register with you how bad that bleach job is?
Yeah, like I said, if you imagine the real Sammy Hagar down on his luck and maybe a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. Maybe he can't afford the luxuries of life. Now, we're not judging this man, Maybe he was just hoping people would buy it and could have a good Tuesday.
Yeah, hoping people would buy it so he could open fraudulent bank accounts. Yes, that's
Well, we're not going to talk about that part, Tim. But, you do what you got to do. All right. Did you have another piece of music news, sir?
Well, I have one more piece of music news, but I don't know whether it will clash with mine. So you do the next one.
Okay, I'll be curious to know if we have the same one. Is yours about the Foo Fighters?
Yes, it was.
Okay, then we have the same one. Would you like to start or do you want me to start?
You can start it, Joy.
So, the Foo Fighters were out their 2026 U.S. Stadium. Yes, Joyce. Yes, Joyce. Stadium days. That's what I'm trying to say. Everything about that was hard. And a new single, Asking for a Friend. So, obviously, this was released literally today, so I'm not shocked that me and Tim. And if anybody does any research, you'll know what day we recorded this versus when you hear it. But basically, the Foo Fighters have been quietly returning to active duties in September with a series of under-the-radar club shows in the U.S., which me and Tim have talked a little bit about. And now they've unveiled their new drummer. Do you know how to say this guy's name, Tim?
I'm not sure if it's Ian or Liam or... I honestly have no idea. I tried to find an interview with him where like a reporter would say drummer, blah, blah, and I have no idea.
Well, you guys know I can't say words, so I refer everything to Tim, and if Tim can't say it, well, I'm not saying it. So Ruben over here,
Mr. Rubin, as we like to call him,
has been announced as the new drummer. It was followed by a string of much larger gigs in Asia earlier this month, and it was all warm for the 2026 Northern American Summer Stadium Tour that's coming out. It kicks off August 4th at the Rogers Stadium in Toronto, and it will conclude September 26th in Las Vegas. Obviously, we're talking 2026, and ticket sales will begin on October 31st. It's kind of quoted, since our return to the stage in San Luis 5 weeks ago, we have been reminded of what we love and forever devoted doing this Foo Fighters thing, Dave Grohl was saying in a statement, from reuniting as a band and starting at a list of 30 years worth of songs to brush off. I don't know why he said it like that, to reimaging versions with incredible blessings of one and the only Ruben, I'm not going to try to say his name, behind the drums, to reconnecting with amazing fans and blasting them with everything we've got, no matter the size of the venue. Because we would not have been here without them, we have the most solid core, and the sun is finally rising over the horizon. If that's not the most Dave Grohl thing I've ever heard in my entire life, but anyway.
Yeah, there were similar statements when Josh Freese joined the band 2 years ago. But, Dave.
Queens of the Stone Age will serve as the opening act. He said in 1992, I first saw the legendary Chris perform at the Off-Ramp in Seattle and met Mr. Josh Homme. Grohl says, the band, we become friends, so on and so forth. You guys get the idea. It's not weird that Queens of the Stone Age would be their opening act. Alongside with this tour dates, the Foos all shared a single entity, Asking for a Friend. It's a song for those who've waited patiently in the cold, relying on hope and faith for the horizon to appear. It sounds like I'm reading a Bono quote. I'm not going to lie, everybody. That's what Grohl wrote. Searching for proof when hanging by a wish until the sun shines again. One of the many songs. I don't know what he's saying, Tim.
It's a lot of word salad is what it is.
It sounds like Bono wrote those words. That's what I hear.
Maybe Dave Grohl is getting into his Bono phase.
Anyway, so That's kind of what we're hearing. It says there hasn't been a new Foo Fighters album since 2023, and that was but here we are, which Tim has talked a little bit on the podcast. It was the first LP since the death, obviously, of Taylor Hawkins. Grohl handled the drum duties himself on the album, and the band hired Josh Freese for the tour, which Tim may have talked about a little bit, which Josh Freese sounds like a great guy. But anyway, we don't need to get back into that. For those who don't know, the Foos replaced Freese with the Nine Inch Nails drummer, which is Ruben. I don't know how to say his name, but he's from Nine Inch Nails. And it virtually moved into, like, the same thing we kind of would have thought. I mean, I like Nine Inch Nails. I don't really equate them to Foo Fighters. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, he might do a great job. I don't know.
I mean, if you're a rock drummer, you're a rock drummer. You can turn yourself to anything.
Really? Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was going to agree with you, Tim. I'm sorry.
I mean, Nine Inch Nails is kind of industrial rock, but I mean, it's not like it's Dream Theater or something.
Yeah, and what I was getting at is it really does kind of fit the narrative. I mean, can you keep time, Tim? Can you hit a snare drum in time on a 4 count? Probably. I mean, generally, you just kind of have to see how it all plays out. It's just funny because we talked about all the weird things that happened in the drum world in the last 3 years or whatever it is.
Absolutely. It's a rough gig if you're a drummer right now.
It is. What is your thoughts on this? Or did I pretty much sum up what you read too?
Yeah, it's pretty much what I read. I think they're going to do incredibly well. They're going to play huge stadiums. They're going to make a lot of money. They're going to make a lot of people very happy. Their last tour that they did was incredibly successful. This tour will be equally successful. People love the Foos. People love Dave. And by the time they get 3 gigs in, people will have forgotten that Josh Freese was ever a thing.
Which is kind of sad because I really liked him. But I don't know that Ruben's any worse or any better or anything of the sort. I mean, I am a Nine Inch Nails fan, but only at like surface level, Tim. I'm not like a hardcore Nine Inch Nails fan who could tell you anything about the drummer in any way. Obviously, I don't even know what his first name is. That sounds bad, but that's just the truth. But what's funny to me is, I've said it and I'll say it again. Phil Reese, if you're listening, reading this about Dave Grohl has confirmed everything I think about him as a person. If you guys do not know, we will not get in this. This is not a podcast where we talk about hating on people, but I have very specific feelings about Dave Grohl, and reading these comments and the pretension confirms what I thought. I said what I said. I stand by it. Come at me.
There we are.
Also, I do like the Foo Fighters, though.
Yeah, I like the Foo Fighters too. I haven't listened to much of them recently, but yes, I do like the Foo Fighters. Everlong will always be their best song.
But to be fair, you don't have to be a good person to write good music. And I think history has confirmed that. How many times over now, Tim?
Yeah, I think you're probably correct.
Are we going to get sued by somebody? I don't know. All right, what's next, Tim?
Okay, so we are going to get into the episode. It's my turn. Now, I enjoyed one of the episodes we did a little while ago where I was asking Joy questions about what song she wanted to take her to a desert island and all that kind of stuff. So I enjoy the dynamics of an episode, like a Joy Reacts episode.
Great.
So I am calling this episode The Joy of Reaction. And this is how it's going to take its form.
Okay.
I have got a list of artists that are predominantly artists that I really like, or artists that maybe we haven't discussed much on the podcast. I'm going to say the artist. Joy is going to tell me either her favorite song by that artist or any song that she might be familiar with by that artist.
I love this.
And then she's going to tell me what she knows about that artist and her opinion thereof.
I hope this doesn't, like, Tim says something and Joy stares at it. We'll see how it goes. All right. I love this idea. Wonderful. Let's do it.
Okay. So the first artist that I'm going to ask Joy to react to is the Pet Shop Boys.
I mean, I do know the Pet Shop Boys, so that's a good one to start, Tim. I was really worried where you were going to tell me an artist, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I obviously thought West End Girls. That's the first thing that comes to mind. West End Boys. I mean, 1980, what I think synth pop from the 1980s. It's like iconic. I think West End Girls. I think that they've been used in like 47 other songs now at this point, right? Like I feel like they're one of those bands that get sampled all the time. Am I crazy, or is that like
No,
makes sense?
I think you're right. I mean, the Pet Shop Boys were at the very beginning of that sort of electro pop thing, and the
Mhm.
vocal styling is very interesting because he's basically just speaking, but it works. And they've been around for such a long time at this point, and they're beloved. And as I said, a lady I used to work with, the Pet
It's
Shop
true.
Boys bought her a bottle of champagne for her 21st birthday when she was in a nightclub. I do remember that about the Pet Shop Boys.
I mean, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean, were you going to say, Tim? Were you saying something
Yeah,
else?
but I like a lot of their output. Now they've gone on
I
and on
love
and on,
them.
and they've put out so much music. But certainly their 80s output is unmatched in my opinion.
I always think West End girls, these STEM boys and West End girls. That's what comes to mind when I hear their name. The other thing I think about is I also think Go West, which I think
Hmm.
was pretty much a universal winner that people would think in like when you think of them. But the first thing that comes to mind is West End girls, and then my brain always says and West End boys. Like it auto corrects it and like fills it all in. I also think they have like, and I could be wrong, but some of their like synthetic sounds. Synthetic, is that the right way to say it? I don't know. Those synth sounds, right, Tim? Synthetic, like it's hair.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's a poly cotton blend, you know.
like I said it like the poor guy's hair from what we were talking about earlier. But the synth sounds, it's obviously the synthetic, everybody. We're getting close to Halloween. I'm thinking about wigs. By the way, Tim, I have the best Halloween costume. We'll get into it later. I
Okay,
won't tell
well,
you what it is,
I will say to
but
our listeners, Joy always has the best Halloween costumes. Always.
this year is might top some other ones anyway.
Okay.
So with that being said, there's a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes in my life. But I will say that's what I think West End girls and I think Go West. That's the summary of this whole thing.
Okay, I like domino dancing, and in fact, I
Oh, that's a good
recently
one.
purchased a CD copy of the album Introspective, which is an album I had when I was much younger. I actually own a vinyl copy of it, but I rarely play records these days. So but I got the CD copy of Introspective, and I listened to it yesterday, in fact, which is why I put it on the list.
I realized what I was going with that synthetic thing that took me into Halloween. I was going to say I think their synth sounds have been used in a lot of other modern day pop music. That's where I was going with that. We got distracted by Halloween costumes because I started talking about hair. But I actually think that they've probably been sampled a lot throughout time. I could be wrong about that, but I guarantee if you Google it, they have.
It honestly wouldn't surprise me. Very influential.
Yes. All right. What's the next one?
Okay, so I couldn't do this list without this artist. And I
Okay.
wonder whether you even know one song by this artist, but you will have an opinion, at least some kind of opinion about this artist. This would be David Hasselhoff.
Oh. I don't know if I actually know any of his music or I know what you have told me about it. Like I've never sought out a David Hasselhoff song. Why was that so hard to say? To be honest with you, Tim's gonna hate this, but he's also gonna love this. It's gonna make a really good funny thing. When I think of David Hasselhoff, I think of two things. I think of the things Tim's have told me about him, but also I think of the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, because I know he was in that.
Yes, and he plays an influential role in the SpongeBob movie. And for some reason, every time I think of David Hasselhoff, that's all I think about. Now, you've talked about he had like all these different songs, and we've kind of discussed them on the podcast, and I've listened to them, like, but I can't associate it with one particular song, right, Tim? But when I think of David Hasselhoff, all I think of is Baywatch and the SpongeBob movie. Because that's obviously why they used him in the SpongeBob movie, right, Tim? Because it's obviously about a beach, and I hope people understand where I'm going with that. And I can't exactly remember off the top of my head how he plays into the one of the SpongeBob movies, but you see him and he's on a beach. There's a Baywatch reference, and then at different parts in the movie, he just kind of pops up as like an overlord talking. It seems like, of course he did. And then you did say he had that whole thing with the wall, like the wall that came down, like the in the 80s. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, the Berlin Wall fell.
Berlin
It was
Wall.
the end of sort of end of East Germany, and
Some
like
what
it was a
was
reunification of of sort of the East and West Germany. So they all came together, and he was up on a cherry picker singing the song
yes.
"Looking for Freedom," while a million Germans were at his feet tearing the wall down.
So that's the other thing. I He's done a lot of stuff. I mean, he was in the SpongeBob movie, and he was Berlin. I mean, they're basically the same, really, Tim, in the history of. Someone's screaming at me right now because I was trying to think of. I was like, Germany, wall, what wall? And then when Tim said Berlin, I was like, ah. Guys, I have dyspraxia. My brain doesn't always associate the things that I'm trying to say, but Tim's been around how many years now? He can kind of concentrate and understand what I'm trying to say. But those are the two things when I think of David Hasselhoff. That's what I think of, Tim.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that I have three favorite songs by him. There's a song True Survivor, which actually legitimately is a great song. Even a non-David Hasselhoff fan would say that's a great song. My favorite album of his, of course, is Night Rocker. And I like the songs Our First Night Together and No Way to Be in Love, both stone cold classics. Now, one thing we're going to look at on the Spotify, just for some stats, he has 274,000 monthly listens. His biggest song is Looking for Freedom, the one I spoke of about the Berlin Wall. That has 19 million listens. True Survivor, which is a song from Kung Fury, which I mentioned earlier, 28 million listens.
Wow. I mean, I don't think he's a bad artist. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad singer or anything. It's just interesting because I never really sought him out until we started doing the podcast. The little things you've told me, Tim, have really resonated with me. But the biggest, and if people don't know this, I have to tell you guys, Joy is a hardcore SpongeBob fan. Tim knows this. Mm-hmm. Joy literally repped a SpongeBob backpack as a full-grown adult. Joy can quote every SpongeBob song and or TV show and or thing that would come up. We've never talked about this in the podcast. This might be revelating information for people, but the way Tim feels about, I don't know, Moonraker is how Joy feels about SpongeBob. So
there we are. I've never, ever seen anything SpongeBob.
We'll fix that later. Continue. I just don't even know how to feel about that. You've literally never seen anything SpongeBob?
Never. Not a single minute or second of SpongeBob.
There are so many good SpongeBob songs, Tim. There's a song about ripping your paint. Okay, move along. I have a lot to teach you. All right, what's next?
Okay, so let's go with an artist that I've seen live in concert recently.
Okay.
This is the artist David Lee Roth.
I mean, I definitely know who David Lee Roth is, though I don't know. Now that you said that, I kind of need to think about what's the first song that comes to mind when I think of David Lee Roth. I mean, obviously Van Halen is what comes to mind, but like what song? Jump. It's Jump because of Glee.
Yeah, but is there a David Lee Roth solo song that you're familiar with?
No. Because all I keep thinking is Jump and Hot for Teacher. I'm going to be honest with you, Tim. Don't cover me, internet. I'm sorry. I do know who David Lee Roth is, but I mean, I did like California Girls.
Well, there you are. That is a David Lee Roth solo song. And basically an excuse to make a video full of attractive models, if we're being honest.
Absolutely is. Yeah. But I will say, when I think of David Lee Roth, my brain obviously goes straight to Van Halen. And when I go straight to Van Halen, I go straight to Jump.
There you are. I mean, I like Just Like Living in Paradise. That is a really good song. A Little Ain't Enough is good. Yankee Rose, his famous album that's sung in Spanish incredibly badly. I mean, it's all the everything about Dave is entertaining. But it's interesting that you go straight to Jump.
I do, because I just can't think of that Glee. I can't never think of that Glee episode where they got commissioned to do. So dumb. It's the dumbest concept you've ever heard. They were trying to raise money so they could go to an event. It's like, to compete, whatever, state, whatever it was. I don't remember, state, national, whatever. They needed money so they could go, right? Because people in America know we don't always fund the arts the way we should, right, Tim?
Sure.
And so they got commissioned to do a commercial, and it was a mattress company. So their idea was to jump on the mattresses, and they're all doing like handsprings and jumping, and they're singing Jump. And they literally got, though they couldn't go because they got disqualified because you weren't allowed to do like, you know what I mean, Tim, something like that to raise the money to go at a high school level. So that was the joke. And I love the song Jump. Obviously, anyone in America or anyone in the UK or I don't know anyone who doesn't know the song Jump, Tim. It's probably been used in 47, million things now.
At least that.
But for some reason, the humor in the fact that they did all that, they recorded the commercial, it got produced, and then they didn't even get to use any of the money. It sticks out to me. That's the funniness of Glee, though. And Tim gets, I hate to say this, honestly, sometimes British humor is a little better at this than American humor. That's the humor, right, Tim? Like, it's dry, but it's funny.
Yeah.
They did all that work for nothing. And so it makes me laugh. And so I instantly, every time I think of Van Halen, my brain goes straight to Jump.
Well, there we are. See, as I said, I would think of David Lee Roth and I'd think of all those solo hits first. But,
I mean, California Girls was good, but Tim's not necessarily wrong. It's just an excuse to put pretty girls in bikinis in your video. But you know what? If you got money, do it. You're not hurting anything.
There we go.
I love how we somehow this divulged into another Glee episode.
As it always does, Joy. As it always does.
And there's probably like a running, if Saz is listening on the bingo card, we need like an option. Did Tim talk about insert Miami Vice, Moonraker, so Kit Carr come up, or did Joy talk about Glee or The Masked Singer? We don't know. All right, what's next?
Okay, so this is an artist that I have seen many, many times in many different places, and both sides of the Atlantic, in fact. And this is an artist that I enjoy the musical output of a lot, which is, I don't think a lot of people are listening to this still, but I really love it and listen to it routinely. Okay. This would be Blue Man Group.
Oh, I don't know if I know a specific Blue Man Group song off the top of my head. When I think of Blue Man Group, I just think of them like beating on a lot of poles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like banging on drums and being in Vegas making cool shows. Now, to be fair, Tim did send me that whole category, I guess, album of them where they were, but I don't think I ever really associate them with any one particular song, Tim.
Yeah, the album I gave you was Live at the Venetian, which was a iTunes exclusive download. If you have Apple Music and you're an Apple Music subscriber, you can access it. But if you have Spotify or any other services, you will not have access to it. And it's a live recording of the Venetian show. They haven't been at the Venetian for a number of years now. But that recording is really good. I mean, like the track Rods and Cones on there is so good. And Utni Wireman, the live version on there, is outstanding.
I guess if I had to pick one song, I'm trying to rap. Chen could see me trying to think about this. I would say I Feel Love, which is that one they did with Venice Hump.
Mm-hmm.
I really do love that. And Charlie, if you guys know my husband, that's right up his. Tim's not surprised by that by any stretch. That's the one the first one that comes to mind. But for me, I don't necessarily associate them with any song. I mostly just associate them with the really cool, stage show where they're beating on poles and pipes and things of that nature.
Yeah, exactly. The backpack tubulums, for example.
That's true. My first thing that comes to mind is I've seen them the white, literally. I assume they're PVC pipes, right, Tim?
They are. Yeah,
that's what I think they are.
They're PVC pipes that are tuned by certain lengths of it will make certain sounds, and they hit them with paddles, and that's the sound. It's that and percussion and rock guitar, and it's I don't know, it just comes together beautifully. And I was
for sure.
I was really involved with them, as I still am, I suppose, because early Vegas trips, I just couldn't wait to go and see Blue Man Group. And then they played in London. I saw them in London, and I've seen them in Florida, and I've seen them New York City. I've seen them in so many places.
What's super interesting about them, though, is I've seen them once. I've only seen them once. Tim's seen them 74 times, apparently. But I will say, I have, obviously, I know they did one song with Tracy Bonham, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down kind of the rabbit hole of them. But what I find super interesting is they have that way of making a great stage show, but you can also tell that they know music because of the ability to play things like a PVC pipe and it actually sounds percussionally well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole show was born out of a street show called Funeral from the 80s, and the original founders haven't been involved with Blue Man Group for quite some time. One of them actually is nothing to do with it now, and the other two are like very much behind the scenes. The sad thing about Blue Man Group is it seems to be slowing down. It got sold to Cirque du Soleil, and a lot of their house shows have all closed. The Boston show closed, the New York City show closed. There's supposed to be a new show in Florida that has not opened. The only house show that's open is the one in Vegas, and I was there last October, and it wasn't full, which is very disappointing.
It wasn't. And I mean, the thing about it is they're just kind of a niche thing that I think has kind of fallen a little bit to the wayside.
I believe it sadly has run its course, I think.
But I always find it interesting when you listen to these, we joke about like, Kiss is like, they talk about we're here for the money, like we're here for the merchandise, we're here for the show. But what's interesting about things like the Blue Man Group, when you see them in theory, you're like, oh, it's mostly just like they're putting on a show, but the musicality of it is actually really good. Like they have the ears, they have the ability. It's funny about this. They talk about like when it comes to writers for a book, Tim. So like certain writers in a book can like break grammar rules, right? To like emphasize that someone's from like the South, or maybe they have like a Cockney accent or whatever, right, Tim? And they're breaking grammar rules. But the funny part about it is you have to know the rules to be able to break them properly. Sure. And it works. And I think that's the same about like musicians like the Blue Man Group. Like you have to know how it works to be able to do that well. Otherwise, it just comes off as chaos. So that's, I think, where the success for them came from and how it works so well in that moment. And that's what's beautiful about them. Also, it's just kind of really cool to watch. I don't know anything about them personally. I assume they were musicians before they started being. I have never went down that rabbit hole.
Well, there were three founders, Chris, Matt, and Phil, known as CMP, if you're involved in the Blue Man Group world. Okay. They were the original ones who had the show called Funeral for the 80s, and they originally would perform at their theater in New York City at the Astor Place. And a suggestion from Penn Jillette said, you're covered in blue paint anyway. Why do you need to do it every night? And they were like, oh, yeah. So there was at one point a whole team of people who were blue men. But as I said, as these various shows and tours are winding down, there's probably only a few blue men left, unfortunately.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know, but that makes sense logically. All right, what's next, Tim?
Okay, so this is an artist that I've mentioned many times on the podcast, and I just want to know your instant reaction on this. This would be Australia's finest, and that would be the Beards.
I don't know, because my instant reaction from them is that album cover that you sent me that I made Charlie listen to. But I can't tell you any of their songs. But there's a very distinct album cover Tim sent me that I could see that I sent to Charles, and Charles went down the rabbit hole and listened to it for about it felt like 3 months straight. And that's what I think of, because what's funny is Tim sent it to me and was like, I don't think you'll care about this, but Charlie will. And so that's what I think of when I think of the Beards. Amazed with the fact that you said that they were re-touring recently and they're not coming to America. That's what I remember.
Yeah, no, I think they'll probably only ever play in Australia from here on in. They wrapped up their tour recently. I don't know whether they're going to be playing any more gigs anytime soon. I don't know. But I was very excited to know that out in the world, the Beards were still touring. And now, as I said to you before, the song You Should Consider Having Sex with a Bearded Man.
Yes, that was a good one. I have heard it.
A really, really good song. It's a comedy song, but it's well written. The video is hilarious. It's just such a good song.
So I had a funny joke about this the other day. I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about the Beards, because I told you I made Charlie fall down the rabbit hole, listen to all the music, whatever, right, Tim? And I instantly thought, I wonder if you asked an American who the Beards were, if they would think you were talking about ZZ Top. Like, I have a theory that we could go out and put a microphone in people's face and be like, who are the Beards? And they would say ZZ Top, Tim. What do you think, like, the ratio would be? Because I feel like at least 3 out of 5 people in America would say you think you're talking about ZZ Top.
No, I think you'd be correct. I mean, they are an incredibly niche artist that Hannah discovered on a forum posting. And then we went down the rabbit hole and learned more about the Beards.
It's even funnier to me that Hannah found it before you, Tim.
Yeah, I didn't find the Beards. I was not an early adopter in the Beards, but she was the one.
Go, Hannah, go. Go, Hannah, go. It's funny because there's weird little niche things that I've like taught Tim, and then he'll be like, this person taught me this. And I always find that funny because Tim is notoriously the person who knows all the niche things that no one else does. And he can testify to that. In your life, have you not always been that person, Tim? Like, I'm not making that up. I feel like you are.
I mean, yes.
Sure. Yeah, it's true. Don't lie. All right, what's the next artist?
Okay. So the next one would be one I don't even know whether you would have an opinion on or whether you would even know a song, but I'll say it anyway. A British artist, a famous British artist. They are the purveyors of the genre known as Rockney. That would be Chaz and Dave.
Only because you made me listen to them on that one episode. And I remember the music video because they were it was giving like 1920s British something.
Well, it's like old music hall music.
That's okay. What Tim said kind of equates it a little better, but it felt like to me, I was looking like it reminds me. It sounds so bad. That sounds so bad. It's such an American perspective. But what it reminded me of is when I watched like Tiny Tim from like the 1920s, kind of like Christmas story kind of stuff, Tim. That's what they were going for, right? In the video. Wait.
Well, I mean, they're sort of cheeky Cockney chaps that do rock. So they're sort of harking back to a simpler time.
I mean, I remember the rabbit song because it says rabbit about 47 times.
Rabbit.
Obviously, I remember the rabbit song, but they're giving, when I think of old British orphans, that sounds so bad. Is that an American Wait, I have to ask you a question. This is going to sound really bad. But for some reason, there is like a thing in American zeitgeist, I don't know, in like American media where when we think about British orphans, we think about like 1920s, 1930s, and it's specifically British orphans. Did you know this, Tim? Or am I like, do I sound crazy right now?
Yeah, because it's like Christmas Carol type stuff.
Yes, okay. Like Tiny Tim. Like literally Tiny Tim. Okay, good. I thought I sounded really bad, but that's what they reminded me of. But then I just think of the rabbit song on repeat. That's all I hear. Rabbit. That's what I hear. And I mean, obviously, it's kind of like pub singing along, music hall, boogie woogie piano, right, Tim? That's what they're going for.
Sure.
And kind of like that Rockney song. And I mean, it's not lost on me. I'm definitely wearing a pair of suspenders and probably a cap that looks like he's going to drive you on a limousine. I felt like that sounded bad, but I'm glad Tim knew what I meant when I was trying to say.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that is sort of the thing they're going for, I think.
But why is it when we think of like orphans and these like context things, it's almost always like when we're talking about orphans from the 20s and the 30s, it's almost always a British orphan.
I think again, it's probably a Christmas Carol that done that.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Also mixed with the fact that there was like a major war that was probably ransacking another country. It makes me feel bad though that was the first thing that came to mind. Okay, all right. Let's move along before I get canceled.
For your thoughts on British orphans from the 1700s.
I don't know why that's the first. It's not like there weren't orphans in America in the 1920s. The Depression hit here too, everybody. Shocker.
No, they only had orphans in England in the 1700s.
Of course, America's perspective. All right, continue. What's next?
Okay, so this is my favorite artist of all time, my favorite guitar player of all time. This would be Brian Harold May. What's your instant reaction?
Of course, I'm going to think Queen, but I also think about that album you made me listen and the self-titled song that was on there that I can't remember, something about space. What was it called, Tim?
It's probably Back to the Light.
I actually really liked it. Like, Tim was so shocked how much I really liked that song. It's been on my Spotify playlist since we listened to it. I actually think it's really good. Now, of course, when I instantly think Brian May, I think Queen, and then we could go down the rabbit hole Queen, and they've got what, 40 million songs that everybody loves everywhere.
Oh, sure.
Also, it's just the fact that we've joked 1,000 times on this podcast that Queen is, but Brian May is not just a guitarist. You might as well just give him every award that's ever existed. He probably is like part gold or something at this point. Like, I swear he could like walk out tomorrow and if somebody was under a car, somehow he would magically lift it. That man can do everything. He just does everything.
He posted on his Instagram that he was working, I think, with school children this week, planting bulbs ready for the spring next year.
He's almost annoyingly like good as a person. Like, you know that person that like does everything amazing in your life and you're like, of course they went and helped the said they almost would help the British orphans, but you know what? He's British. He went and helped the British orphans. Oh, did he go to the soup kitchen this week? Like, he's just one of those people. And like, not only is he like that person who helps everybody, he's good at everything too. Like, I just imagined him like I've talked about Paul McCartney's the same. Like, you could give him some random instrument no one's ever heard of, and somehow tomorrow they'll be writing music on it. That's what I think of when I think of Brian May. I just think he's good and smart and amazing and perfect in every way. And nothing will tell me differently. He also has great hair, and his hair has never fallen. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he would dye his hair. I mean, he's allowed his hair to go grey or white.
I don't like that. I don't like it, Tim. I love the fact that it's white. Embrace it, Tim.
Yeah, but he's a rock star.
But I kind of like the white. I think it makes it look cool. It's giving like Albert Einstein.
That's true. But I mean, as we know,
I like it.
Brian May is a genius.
And Tim does have all of his clogs, so you know. But that's the person that I think of. It's not even his music, because if we went on about his music, we could be here for 74 years. And he's one of those people that's been instrumental, that wasn't like trying to be a joke, but instrumental behind a lot of things that have happened, even not even just in his own music, behind like, you know, producing and things of that nature. But he's also just like a person that if you don't know him outside of the music world, you should, because he's like literally an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke. Like, I'm not making that up, guys. Like, he's actually an astrophysicist.
No, he works with NASA on deep space probes because he had a thesis on deep space pulsars.
Like, how crazy is it that you're a member of Queen to begin with, right, Tim? Like, that's not but the crazy part is that's probably not even the most influential thing he's done. As much as me and Tim love music and like love everything when it comes to the great scheme of things, being a member of Queen is like, what, 55% of the good stuff he's done?
Yeah, it's just a very small part of his life is being in Queen. I mean, 3D photography. I mean, he's launched his own 3D photography company because he's super into that. He's saving British wildlife.
And then the fact that he's just an astrophysics, like being in Queen enough is like enough to like you could go to like, you know what I mean, Tim, and you die and be a happy person. But no, he's not just in Queen. He's also an astrophysicist. He's also doing apparently 3D photography and saving the wildlife and like just like the things. I don't know when the man sleeps. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps busy. I mean, he's in his late 70s at this point, and he's as sharp as a tack, and he's out there doing stuff. And like I said, planting bulbs with school children for the spring next year. I mean, it's amazing.
Anyway, so that's what I was getting at is that the first thing, while I do love him for his music, the crazy thing for me is kind of what I've talked about, the fact that like he's such an interesting person because like that is being a member of Queen should be like the ultimate goal, right, Tim? For most of us, like, oh my God, I was a member of Queen, but no. He's like, that's like 40% of my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then I think, and I complained today because I had to wake up an hour early so I could do insert whatever it is here.
Oh, and of course, and his primary guitar that he's played ever since 1964 he built with his dad. It didn't come from a shop. Him and his dad made it in a back
Are you
bedroom
kidding me?
in Feltham out of junk. And he still plays that guitar to this day.
It just really feels like he's making fun of us at this point, Tim. Like the rest of us will never. Anyway, like that's the thing that I think. The music's great. He's wonderful. Everything he plays with obviously is amazing. But it's just crazy to me how great of a person he is. And he's one of those people, knock on wood, I've literally never heard anything bad about. Not one bad story. It's not like when we talk about like John Lennon, who literally punched people in the face for the hell of it.
No, I think he's always been a good person. He's always had his heart in the right place.
But do you know what I mean, though, Tim? Like, and for those who are laughing, me and Tim have talked about it on the podcast. There are many musicians who, well, their music was great. They weren't good people.
No, 100%. I mean, you could make a very easy list. Maybe we should do an episode. Musicians who are not good people.
John Lennon would be at the top. The funny thing about him is the peace and love thing, as me and Tim have talked about it ad nauseum. All right, let's move along. We've talked about this for a while. That is what I think of when I think of Brian May. Is the crazy part about him is the fact that being a member of Queen is a very small part of his life.
Yeah.
Like, what? For any other normal out there like us, that would be your whole life for him. No, for him, it's like, yeah, it's a member of Queen, but today I decided to be an astrophysicist. And you're like, what? All right, what's next?
Okay, so this one is an artist that you very much have heard of, but I'm just curious to know what your initial thoughts are and maybe what your favorite song is. This is The Darkness.
Oh, I mean, obviously, I believe in a thing called love. I have very distinct memories of The Darkness because I grew up in the early 2000s, and that is when they hit their like mainstream success. They've been around for a while. I realized this, and we've did a whole episode on them. We even had a guest show host on here, Mr. Wispy, who is an official, basically a member, right, Tim of the band or something. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
I mean, his his audio visual work makes him effectively a member of the band.
I mean, Tim's basically a member of ABBA, as we've talked about on this podcast. But anyway, no, I believe in a thing called love is the first thing that comes to mind, and I have two very distinct memories. There's two things in my life that actually three, that have made this band like one of my top bands that I still listen to, still love, still adore. Was one, when I Believe in a Thing Called Love came out, I was growing up and I was obsessed with Fuse. Fuse was like, in America in the early 2000s, it was our version of Total Recall Live on MTV, right? Mm-hmm. And Fuse did music videos, but it was for the kids who were into alternative rock. And I was super into alternative rock, like thousands of other people. It doesn't make me like super cool or anything. I'm just saying that's what I was into. And so we had Fuse, and Fuse was that alternative to that. And so when I'd get home, I'd turn on Fuse, and there's a few songs that would play on Fuse every day that I adored. And the first ones that come to me, my brain, are AFI, Silver and Coal, I Believe in a Thing Called Love, and then the other one is the Lost Prophets Last Train Home. Those are the first three that come to mind. And the music video to I Believe in a Thing Called Love is one of the most iconic music videos of all time, when they're in the spaceship with the aliens. I don't care what anybody says, in his 70s outfit. You see chest hair, you see everything. Perfect, fantastic. And then there was a kid who used to sit in front of me in French class. And I will say, I had a crush on him at the time. I did have a crush on him, so maybe this stood out. But if you're listening to this, shocker, I had a crush on you. But anyway, he was like, for like 6 weeks straight, no matter what we were doing, I would hear this guy just going, I believe in a thing called love, just up the road. No matter any time quiet, like we were trying to do our tests or anything, that's what I would hear. All day, every day. And I don't know why, but that sticks out to me so much. You know, like those little things that like you're like, you know what I mean, Tim, like at school or whatever. But I mean, I promise you, for 3 weeks. And it was funny because at that time I was like, why does he keep doing it? But then I realized I would be like out in the stratosphere of the world. And that's what everybody was doing at that time, Tim. Like you would just hear in the quiet, I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm. I don't know what did they put in that song? Like it was like crack.
It's just a piece of genius songwriting is all it is.
It was one of the most, and I do not know anybody to this day. Permission to Land, as we've talked about, is one of the best albums of all time. Or we're talking about 2003, so I was 13, 14 years old. It's like I was in 9th, 10th grade in America, early high school age. So it was an interesting mix between they did a really good job of mixing that alternative rock with like 70s hard rock glam, right, Tim? Obviously, that's what they were doing. But there's something about that, like, touching you. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they put in there, Tim. But it's just perfect. Everything about that song is perfect. And if you don't know that song and you are listening to this podcast, go listen to it. Tim will testify, I'm not crazy. It's one of the best songs that's ever been written. I stand by that.
There we are. I like Black Shark, and I also like Love on the Rocks with No Ice, which closes Permission to Land.
I love all their songs, but I will say that one does, like, and obviously, guys, that is their biggest hit. But that is the one, because I was growing up at a time when that song was super popular, Tim. It sticks out to me. And that is what brought me to the Permission to Land. And obviously, the iconic album cover. If you've never seen it, we don't need to talk about this PG podcast. Go look at it. But it was perfect, though. I think what stuck with me is they really brought back a lot of 70s and early 80s glam rock in the right way to make it such an iconic song in that moment.
Yeah, I think so. And they continue to get it done.
Stuck in a Rut is a good song, too. I really like that song, too. We could be here forever. Planning Permission is a good one. That's, I think, like what's counted as the blue B side or whatever. And of course, Justin Hawkins is fantastic. Like, I don't know what else to say. He's just fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would imagine, though, as popular as they were in America, they had to be double as popular in England, right? Like, I'm not crazy.
No, at the very beginning, yes, they were very popular. After they broke up and got back together, I'm not sure, because that's around the time I left the UK. So I don't know how popular they are there. But certainly at the time when Permission to Land came out, they were absolutely huge.
I mean, if they were this popular in America, I can only imagine that it was, and I'm not kidding, like, it was like for 30 seconds of my life. And it's very, it wasn't long. It wasn't, right? We're talking 2003, very short term, whatever, right, Tim? But there was like 30 seconds of my life, it felt like they were everywhere. And I don't even know how they, like, it was like, and they were gone. But like the impact they made, and I don't care what anybody says, if you like 70s music or you like hairband, glam, whatever, and you've not fell down the rabbit hole that is, I believe in a thing called love. Just go do it. Just do it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so yes, Tim, I love the darkness. That's the moral of the story. And I have very distinct memories of it.
Okay. All right. So this artist is a little niche, a little quirky, maybe a one-hit wonder, not a two-hit hero. And I don't even know if you recognize the what I'm getting at just by the artist name. And the artist is Off.
No. Doesn't ring a bell.
Now, cast your mind back maybe about a year ago, and I got very obsessed by a song which I found out about that was never a UK chart hit.
Okay.
And I found it out, I think, from an Instagram video or something. Okay. And that would be Electrica Salsa.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know what you're talking about. To be fair, I only know this because of Tim. We watched that music video, right? That's the one that had the weird music video, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay. I mean, everybody should go look at this. I'm Googling it now because I want to see the music video again. I don't know how I feel about this. Wasn't part of it not even in English? Wasn't there like another language being spoken?
I think they're German or something like that, but the song is sung in English.
There's something about ba-ba, ba-ba.
Ba-ba.
That's what it was. I'm going to look up images because one day Tim was like, Joy, you have to watch this. I'm like, what is happening? I had so many logistic questions looking at that music. It's not even that. I don't even know if the song is good or if it's more interesting than good. But it's what I imagine in my brain when I think of like electronic music playing in Berlin when people have had too many drugs. This is what I think of. This is like that's what my brain equates it to. I have no reference point to that. I've only been to Germany twice, and that was an airport. So don't come for me, internet. That was just the Munich airport. Tim, have you ever flew into Munich? You've probably flew into Munich.
Or
have you
think
always been to
I've flown
Frankfurt?
into Frankfurt.
How is it always into Munich? Twice, 3 times now. I've always been to Munich, and that airport is huge. I'm assuming Frankfurt's probably
Well,
just
they're
huge.
probably both big hubs.
They are. They're like the international hub you have to go through. You know what I mean? The customs one before you go to the other one or whatever.
Yeah,
Port of entry
like in
type
France,
thing.
you have Paris Charles de Gaulle, which is the same, and sometimes you get cheap flights from the United States, and they'll go from like US to Paris Charles de Gaulle, and then you go Charles de Gaulle to London. It's just it seems weird to fly over where you're going and then come back. But sometimes if you fly cheap, like I try to, you often end up doing legs of your journey like that.
I always assume though. So for me, what happens is I flew out of Charlotte, which is for those who don't know in North Carolina, we have like I guess a port of entry and a port of exit, where the international airport is in North Carolina, which is right below me and Tim. Tim can testify to that. Now you could, in theory, fly from Roanoke up to like New Jersey or New York and fly out. That does happen too. I've done both. But a lot of times I always come out of Charlotte, and when you come out of Charlotte, you always end up flying Lufthansa. I don't know what it is. That's the only one we know, Tim. I don't know. And obviously Lufthansa is a German airline. I'm convinced that there is some tomfoolery happening there, and they do not tell the Americans everything they tell the German people on those broadcasts.
Yeah, because you get that, don't you? Because I've been on French flights and German flights. And I think there was one time I went to Cyprus. So they were speaking in English and Cypriot, I think is the language for Cyprus. And it's the same thing.
no
It
idea.
goes on forever in a language that you do not understand. And then the captain will come as, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to flight, blah, 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 blah. We'll be cruising at 35,000 feet. We've been making our descent in approximately
Yes.
2 hours. And the cabin crew will be looking after you today. And they'll be bringing around snacks and drinks. Thank you so much. And it's just like that. That's the end of that.
See, I don't remember when I did Air France because I have flown Air France too, but only like small flights from like Spain to France, right, Tim? Like very small flights. I don't remember, but every time I've done the German airline, I feel like they listed off 4,700. I'm like, are they messing with me? Are we gonna die? Is this like gonna crash? And no one's telling me. Do they not want to tell the Americans because we probably will overreact and we're annoying? I don't know because we are loud and annoying. So maybe they, you know what? I was like, and then I kind of thought, do I actually care? No, don't tell me. Just let me die. I'd rather not know, Tim. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. The airplane's gonna fly into the ocean. Just don't tell me. But anyway. And so the 3 times I always landed in Munich. I don't know if I've never got to go to Frankfurt. I don't know. I just haven't. But Munich airport's huge. And it's one of those ones that you have to always take the trolley around. But what's crazy is every time I've ever been there, I like ran everywhere, get there fast. And then you get there and then you just sit and wait and there's nothing there. So I'm like, oh, let me go look outside and see what Germany looks like. I'm like, it looks like grass. It doesn't look like anything like, you know what I mean? You think, oh, let me go as an American. My first time seeing Germany, I'm like, it really doesn't look much different than Virginia. I'm just going to say it.
Well, it's like when I went to Singapore. So I flew to Australia and then there was a layover in Singapore for refueling. I was with my uncle, who was a smoker at the time. I don't know if he's still a smoker. I haven't seen him for many years, but you could stay on the plane or you could get off the plane and stretch your legs. And I said, let's get off the plane because I want to go to Singapore. And he's like, I need to smoke a cigarette. So we walked through this airport and then we find the smoking lounge, which is a balcony that looks out over the airport. And I was like, look at this, it's Singapore. And it's very humid and it was raining. And he chain smoked 3 cigarettes. And then we ran back through the airport and got on the airplane.
It's always funny. You know what the weirdest thing for me as an American going into other countries was, Tim? And I think you'll find this funny because it's probably the opposite perspective you have. Is in America, we're still, I mean, we are old, but we're relatively young comparatively to other countries, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I just assumed, so when we went to Greece a few years back, I did not realize. So, you're going through Athens and it looks like every other basic city you've ever been in. Tall buildings, people, there's a McDonald's here, or whatever. But then you just walk, and then you're standing by like Mount Olympus. But like, it's in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought in my mind it would be separate of the city, but it isn't. Like,
No,
and
it's
then
like St. Paul's Cathedral and stuff. It's in the
like,
middle of the city.
same experience in Paris. I'm like, oh. I'm like walking and it looks like graffiti here. Oh, that guy's smoking a cigarette. That guy's just peeing over here. And then I turn around and it's like, oh, there's the Louvre. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to me as an American in my mind because I think, and you could testify to this, a lot of times, like, things that are like cool buildings or whatever in America, they're separate of like the city. But in Europe, it's part of the city. And I guess I just didn't realize that that was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. I don't know.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay, thank you. So that had nothing to do with, I don't even remember what artists were we talking about?
Well, I tell you what, Joy, let's do one more Joy Reacts 2.
All right.
And then we will wrap this episode up. So we're going to close out with the artist Extreme.
Okay, I mean, I think of Extreme, but every time I think of Extreme, the only thing that comes to mind is one, I think of them as one-hit wonders, and everybody yells at me they're not one-hit wonders when I do this. I mean, they are an American band, I think.
Yeah, they're from Boston.
What's the first thing I think of when I think of Extreme? I mean, More Than Words. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I hate to say it, but I will say the version that I like is I like the Jack Black version. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just what I gotta do. It's not. I know you went and saw them live recently, didn't you? Or in the last few years, Tim?
Yeah, and they were excellent.
Excellent. I imagine they're wonderful. They have the best harmonies of any 80s band that you could put out there, right?
Oh, their harmonies were amazing.
But are they the same band, or are they one of those bands that keep playing with different people?
They have had a couple of drummers. I think they're on their third drummer, but their original drummer, Pat Badger, left the band, and I think he's now their manager or is involved with the band in some kind of management capacity rather than being a drummer. They had a drummer called Mike Mangini who filled in for a little bit, and then the guy they have now is their permanent drummer.
They did have that. So I know you're going to say the pornographic. How do you say that album?
Pornograffiti.
Whatever Tim said. That's obviously the first thing I think of. And they had that one song that was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I do know that.
Play With Me, which is from their first album.
I love how it went pornograffiti, More Than Words, Bill and Ted's and Play With Me. Everything seems very on brand for Extreme. Take from that what you guys will, but there's something very on brand for this. And they had Nuna Bettencourt. I think of him. He comes to mind. Because you've talked about him a few times. He's
probably the finest rock guitarist out there right now.
And the only reason I know that is because Tim has told me. And he's Portuguese. I know that.
Yes, and he speaks Portuguese as well.
But that's what I think of. I think of More Than Words, but I always think of More Than Words clichely. Let's be honest. It's just it's a walking cliche of a song, right, Tim? And I remember this to be so funny. I'll leave you guys with this. I have a funny story to tell about this. So when I think of More Than Words, I think of every guy in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, right, Tim, learned to play the guitar. Like everyone who wants to serenade their girlfriend learns More Than Words. So when I was going to college, I had a professor who made a reference to that. She was joking about when she was in college in the late 80s, every guy learned More Than Words on their acoustic guitar. They only had to learn a few chords, right, Tim, to sing into their guitar. And so she was referencing it, and then she made a joke about, the same guys who had an anarchy tattoo on their leg. She was trying to make a joke, and then I laughed because if you guys don't know this, guess what Joy's husband has on his ankle?
An anarchy symbol.
Tattoo. He does have an anarchy tattoo that he may have got at 16 years old and a friend may have put there.
There we are.
He was a rebel without a cause, Tim. He never learned to play the guitar, but he did get the anarchy tattoo. But I was sitting in class and I just busted up laughing thinking about Charlie. Lord knows he's like the opposite of anyone you would think that's creative. Tim could tell you this. He's not, he is chaotic, but not in that way. And so it's just really funny because when she said that, I just had to laugh. Like, it was just one of those funny things where I was like, well, he's not going to play. He does know how to play the violin, though.
Ah.
Which I only found out after we had been married for like 5 years. And I'm like, you took violin lessons? He's like, yeah. And then he showed me like he could play the violin. I was like, where did that come from? Kind of, it goes up there with the Creed thing, Tim. Like, now, can he play violin well? Not really. But he could at least do something, right, Tim? And I was like, all these years, and I didn't even know that. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, it goes up there with the fact that he knew all the words to Creed that one time. And I was like, what? You know the words to nothing. He was like, yeah, but I know the words to Creed. And I was like, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like it. Anyway, with that being said that's my end of that story, Tim.
Well, we will close out the episode at this point. Do you have any closing remarks, Joy?
As always, just be kind to each other. And, look out for your friends and your family. Everybody needs somebody right now.
Absolutely. And be kind to everyone that you meet. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
To remind me of another day to come.